Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video we'll be discussing a game I've been excitedly waiting for, Baldur's Gate 3. I'll be picking it up when it releases in early access and playing through Act 1 and available content as it's released. Today, I wanted to post a video introducing and discussing the backstory of a custom character I plan on creating and playing through during early access. This video will provide context for this imaginary character I hope to bring to life in Baldur's Gate 3 and dive into a bit of lore as we go. It will not include any gameplay as the game will hit early access, hopefully tomorrow. Before I jump in, I am actively trying to grow my channel, so please consider subscribing and throwing this video a thumbs up. I also hope to see you during live streams and future videos. Also, please check out the description for links to sources I reviewed before creating this video and chapters to jump to specific sections of this video. For context, R.A. Salvatore has long been my favorite author since I was very little. My all-time favorite character is Drizzt Do'Urden, and my all-time favorite book is Homeland, the first book in the Dark Elf trilogy. Now, I'm not sure if it was a touch of dyslexia or trouble mentally pronouncing the name, but I mentally read and think of Drizzt as Dritz. Harkening back to my younger days, I'll be using Dritz, even though I know this is a mispronunciation, but it's how I've internalized the character. I may also refer to other characters and will be using pronunciations how I view them in this video and future videos I plan on posting. In other words, that's my blanket statement to cover mispronouncing names of iconic characters and locations throughout all my videos. Now, for my first early access playthrough, I'll be affectionately naming the series the Lonely Drow. If all goes as planned, I'll be creating a Lothsworn Drow Ranger and will most likely roll the Hunter subclass that we'll have to see once we get in game. More on our Lonely Drow and his backstory to come. In BG3, there will be two types of Drow, the Seldarine and the Lothsworn. As stated in the character dev post, the Seldarine are a result of the ancient fallout of two elven deities, Corellon Laurenthian and Lolth. Lolth's treachery drove the Drow into the Underdark, where they splintered into warring factions or effectively the different houses. The Seldarine Drow, on the other hand, appeared to stay and seek allies from all over Faerun, aiming to settle their conflict with Lolth and each other. The Lothsworn Drow are primarily located in Menzo Berenzan, where they worship and extol the virtues of their corrupt and merciless goddess. As the Dark Elf trilogy expounds, this city is a place of treachery and constant war with varying houses vying for power and influence. Homeland in the Dark Elf trilogy series spends lots of times outlining how Dark Elf society operates in Menzo Berenzan, where each house is led by their matriarch. In this society, males are considered the weaker sex, and only the most talented males grow any notable fame or power. For our Lonely Drow, Zaknarin Coast, formerly of House Q Zaloran, has found himself in a precarious position and has been forced to make his way out of the Underdark. Zak grew up in the House Zaloran before the house relocated to Guantelagurm. Zak comes from minor noble blood and trained at the Academy of Melee Magrathir, the warrior school. While proficient in combat, Zak never excelled at anything in particular. Living in Drow society, he felt a constant pain and never understood why life felt so meaningless, which impeded his ability to truly excel at anything. After graduating, House Zaloran was finally allowed to relocate to Guantelagurm, where they formed House Q Zaloran. Zak spent the next several years exploring and clearing the halls of Guantelagurm from all manner of beasts and monsters. Listless, he felt like a worn husk following orders to stay alive. When in combat, he felt some semblance of life, but his drow physique and reflexes kept him alive from encounter to encounter. One day, on patrol, Zak's unit came across a small group of dwarves encamped not too far from a sealed-off quarter of Guantelagurm. Using Drow hand language, the patrol spread out around the unsuspecting dwarves, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Waiting for the signal, Zak watched the dwarves and noticed two baby dwarves were bundled by what seemed to be a recovering mother. As he watched, he felt something he hadn't felt before. He couldn't quite place it, but it was an emotion close to, but not quite, regret. A deep sadness, knowing that in a few short moments the mother and two babies would be nothing more than carcasses waiting to be devoured by roaming horror hooks. As he watched, seemed to slow, and Zack heard a faint voice. He tried to focus, but he couldn't quite hear it. Shifting, he tried to angle, but soon realized the voice wasn't a voice at all, but instead coming from inside his head. Despite his best efforts, he couldn't quite make out what the voice was trying to tell him, but it seemed important, yet the harder he tried to listen, the softer the voice seemed to become. Before he could spend any more time trying to discern what the voice was telling him, the signal was given and the Drow patrol attacked the group of dwarves. Blood flew and Zack instinctually jumped into the fray with his dagger and sword drawn. A dwarf swung an axe and Zack instinctively rolled forward, slicing the dwarf's hamstring as he went, before rolling out into a full sprint. Zack paused as he heard the crying of one of the baby dwarves. His roll and short sprint found him standing above the two babies lying next to their slaughtered mother. Zack wasn't sure if it was the voice in his head or something else, but he sheathed his sword and dagger and picked up both baby dwarves, while calling down an impenetrable globe of darkness around him. Zack could hear a full few bolts whiz by him from his drow compatriots, and without thinking he sprang out of the globe of darkness and headed to the nearest tunnel with babies in hand. What felt like a lifetime but was surely only a few moments later, Zack stopped and looked down at the two dwarves. They silently looked up at him, and in that instant Zack knew that he and these babies' lives would be forfeit if he turned back. With nowhere to run and no one to help, Zack headed in the only direction left, up. And that concludes our short intro to Zaknarin Coast. I hope to be jumping into Baldur's Gate 3 to continue Zack's story after escaping the Underdark and leaving the two baby dwarves with a human family. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you in future videos. Please consider supporting the channel by subscribing and joining us for what I hope to be a live stream shortly after early access releases. Shadow Coast out.